edge case testing. So that has to be taken care of by the developer, and basic unit testing the any developer does already. I mean, it is not something that you have to learn. You'll have to see कि अगर text box बना है तो input लेने आना चाहिए. If the I mean that text box is not picking it as an input, that is an issue. That is a basic edge case too. So that the developer already takes care of. Okay. So somewhere out there जब जहाँ पे कुछ इशू हो सकता है या फिर देयर इज समथिंग ऑलरेडी इन द डेवलपर्स माइंड कि अरे ये चीज़ शायद ठीक से नहीं बनी, तो आइदर गिव द टेस्टर अ हेड्स अप और मे बी लुक इनटू इट योरसेल्फ.
हे गाइस, कैसे हो आप सब? उम्मीद करता हूँ सब ठीक रहोगे. फिलहाल तो प्लेसमेंट सीजन चालू है एंड आई होप सबका प्लेसमेंट्स अच्छा जा रहा होगा, सब अच्छे से प्रिपेयर कर रहे होंगे. अभी मैंने देखा कि तरुण भैया का जो पॉडकास्ट हुआ था एज अ बैकएंड डेवलपर का, आपने बहुत अच्छा रिस्पॉन्स दिया एंड लाइक बहुत सारे लोगों को अच्छा लगा. इनफैक्ट तरुण भैया ने भी मुझे मैसेज किया था कि यार भाई बहुत अच्छा लगा, वो जहाँ पे काम करते हैं वहाँ के लोगों को भी वो चीज़ बहुत अच्छी लगी. मैंने बोला चलो बैकएंड तो हो गया, अभी आते हैं सॉफ्टवेयर टेस्टिंग के बारे में. सॉफ्टवेयर टेस्टिंग एक आई थिंक ऐसा डोमेन है जिनके बारे में लोगों को पता है कि हाँ सॉफ्टवेयर टेस्टर्स होते हैं, बट उसके अंदर क्या होना चाहिए, क्या रोड मैप होना चाहिए. हाँ बोला चलो भाई अपने सीनियर है. आज मेरे साथ मेरे सीनियर है आदित्य मानसे भैया.
हेलो.
हेलो भैया, कैसे हो?
आई एम गुड, आई एम गुड.
क्या चल रहा है आपका फिलहाल?
फिलहाल आई हैव बीन अ सॉफ्टवेयर टेस्टर फॉर अराउंड 2.5 years. दो साल से ज़्यादा हो गया मुझे, एंड इट्स बीन अ गुड एक्सपीरियंस सो फार. एंड आई एम अ सॉफ्टवेयर टेस्टर बाय चॉइस.
ओके, बाय चॉइस मतलब?
So usually people consider software testing a field as if you don't find a job into developing, they move to testing.
ओके.
For me, I chose testing because I wanted to do something which I am good at. So
ओके,
I got myself into
मतलब
testing.
लोग ये इसको ऑप्शनल समझते हैं कि दिस इज एन ऑप्शनल थिंग.
Yes, you can think of it that way because somewhere in the people's mind it is कि testing इतना ज़्यादा proficient job नहीं है as compared to developer. Okay. Because people think that being a developer is a better standard in the
Okay.
market compared to testing. So that is my approach. That is what my experience has been.
ओके.
But मुझे पर्सनली टेस्टिंग ज़्यादा अच्छा लगता है, सो आई गॉट माई सेल्फ इनटू टेस्टिंग.
ओके, अभी टेस्टिंग के बारे में बात ही करते हैं तो आई मतलब मुझे थोड़ी चीज़ें पता है, बट फॉर द व्यूअर्स आप बता सकते हो कि यार सॉफ्टवेयर टेस्टिंग में एग्जैक्टली होता क्या है?
So software testing basically is to see if the software या फिर जो product है it is working as expected in very layman terms. अगर client ने बोला है कि मेरा कैलकुलेटर है, कैलकुलेटर में 1+1 2 आना चाहिए, तो आई नीड टू चेक कि 1+1 2 आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है.
Okay.
अगर 1 में प्लस 2 बार दबा रहा हूँ और वापस 1 दबा रहा हूँ, सो एम आई गेटिंग 2 एज एन आउटपुट कि कुछ और आउटपुट आ रहा है. इन सिंपल टर्म्स टू चेक इफ द प्रोडक्ट वर्क्स एज एक्सपेक्टेड.
ओके, कितने टाइप के मतलब व्हाट आई थिंक आई वांटेड टू आस्क यू व्हाट आर द टाइप्स इन व्हिच सॉफ्टवेयर टेस्टिंग वर्क्स, लाइक मैनुअल टेस्टर होता है मैंने सुना है, कुछ दूसरे भी टेस्टर्स होते हैं, तो कितने टाइप होते हैं?
सो एज यू सेड प्राइमरली दो टाइप है, एक मैनुअल है, एक ऑटोमेशन है. Within automation and within manual there are different types of testings. For example, unit test हो गया, regression test हो गया, integration test हो गया, and so on and so forth. So these are the common types and basic types basic. So unit testing to check one unit. Integration is when you put two units together. तो फिर दो unit का testing, inputs through from one unit goes to next unit, and if you get the correct output or not, that is integration. Regression would be कि एक system already बना हुआ है, you add a new feature to it. So वो new feature की वजह से पूरा system ठीक से चल रहा है या नहीं चल रहा है, और कुछ या फिर let's say कुछ uncertain bugs आ रहे हैं उसमें for whatever reason. So you need to check all those things in regression.
ओके, मैनुअल टेस्टिंग और ऑटोमेशन टेस्टिंग के बारे में थोड़ा और डेप्थ में जानना चाहूँगा कि व्हाट इज एग्जैक्टली इट एंड दोनों में डिफरेंस क्या है, एंड कंपनीज में मतलब व्हाट इज मोर प्रेफर्ड?
Right. मैनुअल टेस्टिंग इज बेसिकली जहाँ पे यूज़र का नो हाउ पता होना is important. So if it mostly pertains to the functionality part, the user experience, and the visual UI of the software or maybe the product.
Okay.
So that is where manual testing is more used. Right now in the market, if we see the latest trends, manual testing इतना ज़्यादा use नहीं करता कोई, because whatever UI aspect it is taken care by the designer. Whatever implementation of the functionality part is, it is taken care by the developer.
Okay.
So those two things are more or less covered in like those steps. But manual test is some or the other still a thing in the market, because भले ही कोई भी कितना भी proficient हो in their job, when it comes to the actual implementation and actual comparison of the product with the expectation of the client, you need to have a specialized party to check those things.
Okay.
So that is where manual testing in these cases come into picture. Automation testing में कैसा होता है कि if there is a repeated task, कि for example मुझे एक सर्टेन स्टेप्स है, प्री डिफाइंड स्टेप्स, मुझे वही चेक करना है, यू कैन ऑलवेज राइट अ स्क्रिप्ट एंड रन दो स्क्रिप्ट्स. तो वही सेम चीज ओवर एंड ओवर अगेन कैन बी डन हंड्रेड्स ऑफ टाइम्स यूजिंग ऑटोमेशन.
Okay.
फर्स्ट थिंग, टाइम बचता है, money बचता है, you save your energy, and you get a detailed report of all those things. You cannot expect those results from a manual tester to give every time in return, or maybe keep a log of those things.
Okay.
So automation in that sense is used more in the market, because वैसे टाइप के जॉब्स ज़्यादा है, वैसे टाइप का नीड इन द मार्केट इज मोर. ऑल्सो जो फील्ड्स में ये ऑटोमेशन यूज करते हैं बेसिकली, those fields are prominent in the market as of now.
कौन से फील्ड्स में ऑटोमेशन यूज होता है?
Every field. To give an example, banking.
Okay.
Banking field में the most important thing is to keep their uh, tables and data secured in proper state at all times. So testing in that sense is कि जो database है उनका, is it working properly or not? When a transaction happens, so what happens is basically, let's say I am sending money to you. So मेरे अकाउंट से let's say 10 rupees माइनस हुआ, आपके अकाउंट में 10 rupees प्लस हुआ. What if let's say 10 rupees मेरे अकाउंट से माइनस हो गया, लाइट गोज ऑफ, डेटाबेस द एक्चुअल सर्वर लेट्स से डिस्कनेक्ट हो गया. सो मेरे अकाउंट से 10 rupees गया, बट आपके अकाउंट में डिपॉजिट नहीं हुआ. सो व्हाट नाउ? Such things need to be taken care somehow.
Okay.
So in this case, what happens is we need to check, is the block properly made. So a transaction is a block basically. Minus from my account plus in your account should be one block.
Okay.
If in this entire processing of this block, if you, let's say, if something goes wrong, the entire block should be considered invalid.
Okay.
So this is one of the examples where you need to take care of such interactions.
Okay.
This is like this is somewhere the automation takes place, because repeated process,
Okay.
manual, the same steps can be performed over and over again.
ओके, एक चीज़ मैंने बहुत देखी है एंड मेरे जो क्लासमेट्स हैं उनसे भी बात हुई थी, सम ऑफ माय जूनियर्स आई हैड टॉक्ड अबाउट एंड दे आर लाइक कि भाई लोग जाते हैं सॉफ्टवेयर टेस्टिंग में,
Yeah.
बट दे आर नॉट अवेयर अबाउट द रोड मैप कि
Yes.
कब से स्टार्ट करना चाहिए, लाइक सेकेंड ईयर, थर्ड ईयर, एंड क्या क्या चीज़ें पढ़नी चाहिए टू बिकम अ सॉफ्टवेयर टेस्टर.
Theoretical aspect, you need to understand what testing is. You need to understand types of testing. Maybe that is where your theoretical part ends and your actual experiences begin. I also feel that testing में आने से पहले there are a few requisites that you need to look into yourself. कि am I a good observer? कि अगर मैं कुछ चल रहा है in my day to day life, am I a good observer? क्या मैं ठीक से experience कर पा रहा हूँ? Can I, look into it as if it is right or wrong, or could there be an efficient way, for example. And then what do we say, you need to have a good comparison sense कि अगर ये चीज मैंने ये डायरेक्शन में किया, if I change the pathway या फिर change the route and I still do it, will I get the same result, same outputs?
Okay.
As it should be in real life. But if it is not, why not? So basically observation should be good, your critical thinking should be good, considering you have to think in ways that which may not be possible in like in general life, but there could be a scenario or two in thousand कि ये हो सकता है. So you need to have those outlier situations planned in your head. कि do whatever, but ये करने से क्या होगा? So what I basically think is like, let's say testing is basically not testing, software. Software basically is 100% thing out there. 95% of that thing is traversed by everyone all the time. 5% of that is traversed by some people at some times. So you need to be able to replicate those 5% of things all the time to see if there are any issues in that particular frame. So that is where the tester's role come into picture.
Okay. Is there any right time to start learning for software testing?
There is no right time as such, but I feel that if you inculcate the values in yourself from, let's say, second year maybe, because first year you don't have no idea what it is out there, क्या कर सकते हैं, options क्या है, opportunities क्या है. You need some time and you cannot be hard on yourself कि मुझे first year से पता होना चाहिए कि मुझे क्या करना है, मुझे जिंदगी में क्या बनना है वगैरह. Too much to ask. But from second year onwards, you get to interact with your seniors, you get to interact with industry personnel. There are a few events in the college. You get to see what it is like out there. There are competitions online, offline. There are hackathons, and then even if you talk to the staff members, the faculty that you have, and see what it is like, you'll have contacts with your alumni. You could see what it is out there. After that, if somewhere or the other something triggers in your head कि अरे ये कुछ interesting लग रहा है, or maybe I think I could be that thing, so maybe try and testing it from the second year onwards would be a good time frame, I feel, because you get time to fail and then build yourself back up.
ओके। आपने जैसे बोला कि ट्राई टू गेट अ कॉन्टैक्ट विद योर एलुमिनाई। गाइस, ही इज माय कॉलेज एलुमिनाई, सो दिस इज हाउ कॉन्टैक्टिंग गेट्स यू कंटेंट। एंड यहाँ पे आपको एक अच्छा रोड मैप भी मिल जाता है। अभी आपने बताया राइट टाइम इज द सेकेंड ईयर, एंड लेट्स कंसिडर अ हाइपोथेटिकल सिचुएशन, लाइक आप सेकेंड ईयर में हो वापस, एंड यू नो कि आपको सॉफ्टवेयर टेस्टर बनना है, एंड बेस्ड ऑन द करंट सिलेबस ऑफ इंजीनियरिंग आप कैसे सेकेंड ईयर से फाइनल ईयर तक जाओगे?
Okay. First of all, I'll see if I'm capable of doing testing in general. So, let's say I pick up a random web page. Let's say google.com मैंने उठा लिया, search engine, right? मैंने उठा लिया. Now I just start playing around with the console. Put F12 on the keyboard, console opens. Do whatever over there. मैंने थ्रॉटलिंग किया, इंटरनेट स्पीड का थ्रॉटल किया मैंने. आई टिक इट डाउन, आई पुट इट बैक अप. I changed the aspect ratio of the window. I changed the display output to maybe a mobile device and then changed the aspect ratio. All those things. So, can I somehow try to break the system? Okay. That is where I start. Post that, I'll see if I have the capacity to log those things. Ki if I'm okay with, let's say, steps likhna. So to replicate whatever I'm doing, I'll write down steps. I'll am I able to build the test cases, interesting test cases, not the usual ones. Ki open the window and see if the window opens or not. So those are normal ones. Try to build in new test cases. कि अगर मैंने throttle किया, throttle करके अगर मैंने mobile view में मैंने open किया browser, does the browser open first of all? Are there broken images on the browser? Maybe it's a decent place to start. So that is how I'll first of all judge myself, and then post that if I'm, let's say, good at it, then I'll see what the industry demands. Okay. Industry definitely doesn't demand कि मैं search page जाके check करो search engine. So that is not what it wants. But I'll check कि industry में क्या है, which companies out there are looking for testers, what kind of testers, and what all do they expect to have for a tester to have, the job description maybe, या फिर the qualities to look for. So I'll then check those things. So do I fit somewhere somehow, or do I need to work on myself to bring myself up to those levels, skill up करके somehow if I could manage it, let's say next 6 months or so. So I'll give myself those milestones कि 6 महीने में यहाँ तक हो जाना चाहिए या फिर these things I need to take care of until for the next 6 months and build myself up from there. Okay. Post that, I'll see if the job requirement in the market is high. What other things I need to do other than the requirements over there. I'll try to contact my seniors या फिर random people on LinkedIn and get the experiences. Maybe there's a certain company I would like to get in. I'll contact people from that company and then text them ki, hey, I wanted to ask you some questions. I am also interested in the same field and would like to work in the company 2 years down the line. So can you just give me a brief pointers regarding how the job is? What do you think I should be learning as of now so that I could be a good fit for the company 2 years down the line? What all technologies are you working on? All those sort of things. And then my align myself कि ठीक है ये सब मैं कर सकता हूँ इतना मुझे आता है आगे जाके मुझे यही काम करना है. Okay. I may or may not get into that particular company, but I am out there. I am ready. I can apply to some other company, on the same levels or maybe whatever. So the recruiter is not looking for that perfect candidate, but a candidate who is ready to learn. And since you've been learning all your life, it is not that difficult, I feel. Okay. So that would be my roadmap.
ओके। अभी मैंने एक चीज़ देखी है, आई मे बी रॉन्ग, कॉलेज लाइफ में इतना सुना है कि अगर AWS का कुछ करना है तो उसका एक सर्टिफिकेशन आता है, AWS सर्टिफिकेशन। सो सॉफ्टवेयर टेस्टिंग का जो डोमेन है, आर देयर एनी सर्टेन सर्टिफिकेशंस रिक्वायर्ड टू, मतलब लाइक टू गेट अ, क्या बोल सकते हैं उसको, एक पुश व्हाइल गेटिंग इन अ प्लेस, व्हाइल गेटिंग प्लेस्ड इन अ कंपनी?
Uh, so two things. Yes, there is a certification. No, you don't need a certification to get a job. Okay. I'll tell you why. Certification hai, I think there is something called as ISTQB, something like that. I don't remember it exactly. But that is a certification saying that you are a good tester. Companies don't need a certified tester as of now. Because right now, whichever job you get initially, at least for 3 months, you will be doing that job manually to understand the entire concept, the entire product, the entire software, whatever it is. You will be doing it manually to get an understanding of the entire product. Post which you can shift into automation or maybe certain maybe DevOps हो सकता है या फिर कुछ भी type का testing you can get into that. So that is the general consensus right now. Certification comes into picture if you want to continue the same kind of testing या फिर टेस्टिंग फील्ड में ही आगे बढ़ना है. Maybe you can always want to switch into development again या फिर get into some other kind of thing, get into cyber security, whatever. So you don't need the certification then. But if you're damn sure कि मुझे testing ही करना है, I want to be a good tester and I want to get into let's say the administration end of the tester या फिर management end of the entire quality assurance process or maybe lead a team of testers and all those things, then you can get into certifications. There are multiple certifications you could do, and after maybe 2 years I feel is a good time, 2 to 3 years is a good time to do certifications.
ओके। एज अ टेस्टर, आर देयर मोर अपॉर्चुनिटीज इन द मार्केट एज कंपेयर टू डेवलपर्स, और उसका रेशियो कम ज़्यादा है?
नहीं, कम है टेस्टर. Yes. uh, for the majority of the jobs, testing jobs out there, you will not be paid as much as a developer at that point. That is okay, given. But if you are getting into a testing specific company who only specializes in testing of products, maybe their own product, something they have developed, or maybe they take third party consignments to check those things and give them a report. So in that case, yes, it is possible that you could be initially paid somewhat similar, but if you look at the long end trajectory of QA field as such, you may not be paid as much as a developer. You will be there around 70% mark, I suppose, but not definitely not 100%.
ओके। एक क्वेश्चन था जो मतलब बड़ा क्वेश्चन है, सो आई विल जस्ट रीड इट एंड आस्क। एवरी सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलपमेंट डोमेन हैज़ अ टेस्टिंग पार्ट,
Right.
but every developer can't master software testing. So according to you, what are the topic or the skills which every developer should know about software testing? क्योंकि आई थिंक लास्ट पॉडकास्ट में तरुण भैया से बात हुआ था एंड ही वाज लाइक कि यू शुड हैव अ सेकेंडरी एक्सपर्टीज,
Right.
क्योंकि अभी टॉकिंग स्पेसिफिकली ऑन द रिसेशन पार्ट, क्योंकि जॉब्स का खतरा है, किसको पता है क्या नहीं होने वाला। एंड ही वाज लाइक कि जब मेरी भी बात हुई थी बिफोर द पॉडकास्ट, ही वाज लाइक तुम वन स्टैक पे कर रहे हो ठीक है, बट यू शुड नो द बेसिक्स ऑफ सॉफ्टवेयर टेस्टिंग। सो मतलब वो बात हुई थी उनके साथ मेरी। तो इसमें क्वेश्चन इज लाइक कि हर सॉफ्टवेयर डोमेन में तो टेस्टिंग होता ही है, बट हर डेवलपर टेस्टिंग नहीं कर सकता। तो जो बेसिक टेस्टिंग अगर किसी को करना हो, नॉट स्पेसिफिकली कि मुझे कंप्लीटली टेस्टिंग जाना है, आपने जैसे बोला कि यू आर टेस्टर बाय चॉइस, चॉइस के पास नहीं जाना है, बट बेसिक जो टेस्टिंग आना चाहिए, उसमें क्या क्या टॉपिक या स्किल्स यू शुड हैव?
I feel for a developer to have a basic edge case testing is important. Okay. Because that is where the product breaks meanly. मतलब फॉर एग्जांपल अभी जस्ट रैंडम फ्रॉम द टॉप ऑफ माय हेड एक टेक्स्ट बॉक्स है, डेवलपर ने टेक्स्ट बॉक्स बनाया, टेक्स्ट बॉक्स का इनपुट ही सेट की इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज होना चाहिए, या फिर लेट्स से लैंग्वेज लेटर्स, नो नंबर्स नो स्पेशल कैरेक्टर्स। अभी हम टाइपिंग ठीक है, नंबर्स एक्सेप्ट नहीं कर रहा, स्पेशल कैरेक्टर एक्सेप्ट नहीं कर रहा, दैट इज फाइन। व्हाट इफ आई टाइप इन मराठी? इट इज अ लैंग्वेज, it should take the input, but if it doesn't, then it is an issue. Now this is something that the developer should have taken care of. अगर उसको सिर्फ बोला है कि लैंग्वेज इनपुट लेना चाहिए, for some reason something went wrong, miscommunication whatever, and he didn't get the entire picture of क्या exactly बनाना है, so Marathi language is not taken as an input, which is wrong because language input लेना था। तो such cases में edge case testing, तो that has to be taken care of by the developer, and basic unit testing the any developer does already. I mean it is not something that you have to learn, you'll have to see कि अगर text box बना है तो input लेने आना चाहिए। If the I mean the uh, text box is not picking it as an input, that is an issue, that is a basic edge case test, so that the developer already takes care of। Okay. So somewhere out there जब जहाँ पे कुछ इशू हो सकता है, या फिर देर इज समथिंग ऑलरेडी इन द डेवलपर्स माइंड कि अरे ये चीज शायद ठीक से नहीं बनी है, तो either give the tester a heads up or maybe look into it yourself. Other than that, let's say the imagination part I feel is the most difficult. To imagine to a certain case and then put it into the workings. Can you do that? Do you have that capacity? Can you think like a 2-year-old in front of a screen? Okay. It would be like कि ये तो कोई भी कर सकता है, या फिर I don't think it is a difficult part in your head, but you don't know the client out there. The client could do whatever with the software, the product that you have. You have to take that into consideration. If I just smash my keyboard when I open the software, you need to take care of that scenario, that case. अगर मैंने certain, for example, this now again this is edge case, अगर मैंने certain combination of words गलती से press कर दिया, so how does, and the software just crashes for some reason whatever, then what? To give an example, there is this one game by Supercell called Brawl Stars. Now, I was just looking into it, and there was this recent update that happened. वहाँ पे कैसा होता, this is only iOS case device, I mean iOS systems. You put on the, you turn on the game, you put it on, it the game won't load, but if you rotate the device, it loads for no apparent reason. Other case was you start the game stops at 90%, for example, loading, and stops there. It doesn't load any further. You take a screenshot, it loads. Yeah. So those are the cases, edge cases where you might not think of, कि ये कैसे हो सकता है, ये क्यों हो सकता है, but it happens. It happens in billion-dollar industries. It happens in your college project. But you need to be out there and think कि ये एक case है, and then put it into workings. So I feel that is the toughest part.
ओके, आपने जैसे बताया तो आई थिंक अभी आपका माइंडसेट भी ऐसा रहेगा, कुछ गेम खेलो ना यार, इसमें इशू आ रहा है।
Yeah.
टेस्टिंग अभी
Yes.
वो 2 साल से जितना कंपनी में आपने जहाँ पे भी काम किया है, वो वही आपने इश्यूज निकाले एंड अभी भी गेम खेल रहे ये इशू आ रहा है इसको मैसेज करता हूँ ये ऐसा हो रहा है. सो एज अ फ्रेशर मैं भी, चलो अभी मेरा एक एग्जांपल कंसिडर करते हैं कि एज अ फ्रेशर हाउ कैन आई गेट अ गुड अपॉर्चुनिटी टू गेट इनटू द टेस्टिंग इंडस्ट्री.
Okay. Considering you have qualified the prerequisites I mentioned before, you should be, open-minded. You should have good critical thinking. Post that, if uh, ad- understand the ins and outs of automation testing, for example, as of now in the market, the demand for automation tester is a lot more than manual. If you fulfill those things, you can definitely go on to LinkedIn and just contact people, see what jobs are out there, what do they pay, and if you are like interested in something, just apply for it. I also feel that initially you might think that I am being paid less than a developer in some sense, but then you can always grow into it. There is a new field coming up, SEDT, which is software engineering and development in test, something like that. I don't know exactly. Put it out there. Yeah. So that is something that is growing quite a lot in the market right now. And give or take, in let's say 3 years into after getting into testing, you can expect anywhere from 18 to 20 lakhs in SEDT. So the money is out there. You just have to know where to find it.
ओके. डज टूल्स, मतलब जितने अभी रिसेंटली बूमिंग एआई टूल्स है वो टेस्टिंग में मदद करते हैं या दे आर लाइक, मतलब काम आधा कर रहे हैं लोगों का या वो बढ़ा रहे हैं काम.
Those tools are good to see what is right. You need testing to see what things are wrong. So it might give you an outlook key. Okay, so you put a prompt key. Tell me if this is right or wrong. It may not give you a proper solution per se, but it will give you guidelines कि if you should check these things, ये check करना, वो check करना, या फिर put it into, let's say, a different orientation. For example, mobile device, some software, change the orientation, zoom in, zoom out, all those things. It will give you a guideline, but it will not test it for you. That is where the human intervention comes into place.
सो एक क्वेश्चन था जो अभी हरी ने पूछा, हम लोग के पॉडकास्ट अभी कर रहे थे एंड हरी लाइक रुक रुक मेरे को एक सवाल है. तो क्वेश्चन इज कि बग बाउंटी हंटिंग होता है साइबर सिक्योरिटी में, तो वैसा कुछ सॉफ्टवेयर टेस्टिंग में होता है?
Usually it doesn't.
ओके.
I'll tell you the reason why.
एक
Because
एक सॉरी टू इंटरप्ट बट ये बग बाउंटी हंटिंग मुझे भी नहीं पता, हरी ने पूछने बोला, तो व्हाट इज एग्जैक्टली इट?
so basically, it is like a competition out there. The companies who put it out are like, "Ki, this is our system. We want you to find vulnerabilities in the system. One who reports it will get certain money or whatever, reward or whatever. I mean, whatever they are ready to offer." So people out there fight, with each other on computers, saying ki, trying to, get into the system and find vulnerabilities, uh, with various tools that they have. They try to do DDoS attacks, SQL injection, all those things, and then try to see that can they somehow, fail the system that is in place. If they are able to do that, then they are rewarded. So that is what bug bounty hunting is in cybersecurity. But in testing, it is not present because we are given a set of rules to follow, or a set of software to follow, and check issues only in that place. It is not as if I want you to find vulnerabilities and fail my software. I mean, not entirely, but more of it is key. I have these rules in place. Check if the things that are already implemented working according to the rules. That is what testing deals with more. Of course, you can always find vulnerability in the software, but that is not what the client wants always. So hence it does not take place as much. But you being a freelancer or you being a tester out there in general can find such issues and report it to the company. In this case, the company may or may not reward you, but it is a possibility. You can, report it to the company itself.
So let's consider also one more question from Hari. Let's consider कि मुझे एक एप्लीकेशन को टेस्ट करना है. मैंने कोई भी एक रिसेंट एप्लीकेशन मोबाइल या वेब बनाया. सो हाउ डू आई स्टार्ट विद कि ये माइंडसेट कैसा होना चाहिए कि हाँ मैं ये टेस्ट करूँ फिर ये टेस्ट करूँ. Likewise.
Again, two answers. One, when you're a fresher, do everything you think of, anything and everything.
Okay.
You cannot limit yourself saying कि मुझे सिर्फ ऐसा ही करना है, मुझे वैसा ही करना है, या फिर मुझे स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट चाहिए, यही स्टार्ट करूंगा, उसके बाद मैं यही करूंगा, उसके बाद मैं यही करूंगा. यू कैन नॉट निट पिक ओवर देयर. You have to start it wherever you want to start with. You can, if it is a logical page, for example, you start with login, sign up, and then get into the application, all those things. Start with the login page. Okay. To start out. But let's say you are an experienced tester, experienced quality assurance guy. The thing that you need to understand is, when you work in this field for, let's say, a period of time, with experience you get your own path.
Okay.
So every quality assurance guy, after every tester out there, has his own path built into his head. If
Okay.
I'm going to test a certain software or whatever, he does it in his own way.
Hmm.
So it comes with experience. It is different for every person, but for a for a beginner, it has to be random, because
Okay.
because unless you do it randomly, you don't understand where your path lies.
Okay.
So it is quite personal in that sense. So that should be, I think, the approach you should take.
Okay. So how was your experience for on your second podcast? क्योंकि पहले बात हुआ था and you are like कि मैंने online के time आप podcasting करते थे with your friends.
Yeah.
But how was your experience?
It was fun. It was fun having me over here and talking face to face, and in a format where सब लोग देख सकते हैं, not just you and the person behind the camera, but you at home. So I feel that this format is a good way to communicate with multiple people while communicating with two people, as in you and the person behind over here. So I'm communicating with just two of you, but also people are listening to us.
Correct.
And the number of people listening to us right now are not limited.
Hmm.
So it is a good way to put yourself out there, and
Okay.
the experience right now is wonderful.
Okay. Any advice या suggestions जो आप जो engineering के बच्चे हैं उनके लिए देना चाहोगे तो?
Sure. So, I've always, whenever I've talked to people, whenever I've had a conversation with, let's say, students out there, या फिर कोई alumni meet में जा रहा हूँ मैं, and then there are, college kids out there. So I always tell them, you ask me a question, only then I'll give an answer. Because I don't know what you want, and whatever I speak is not something you are looking for. So unless you ask a question, the answer is always no. So learn to ask questions.
Okay.
And it may not be just to your peers or just to your faculty members, but to anyone. Ask. If you want, so if you are stuck somewhere, if you want something, unless you ask for it, you will not receive it.
Okay.
For example, if you want to apply to a certain job, put a message to the HR. Ask them if there is, let's say, some place open as of now, or can you, do you guys take in interns? It may not reflect on their website on night. It may not reflect on their website, or may not reflect on their careers page. But there could be an opportunity. You never know. It might have come today itself. आज सुबह एक इंटर्न का हो गया, उसने उसका फेयरवेल हो गया, and he is done right now. There is this place vacant as of now. I happen to text the HR ki, do you have a place for intern, or do you guys take interns? Well and good. You may think that I was lucky enough to get the position, but then again, you were perseverant enough ki you went for the, message. You texted the HR and asking ki kuch hai kya? Do you have vacancies? Do you take in interns? So it happened to work out, and it is, let's say, a win-win situation for you. You have nothing to lose. So In general, what I mean is ask questions. If you don't ask questions, you will never receive an answer.
ये चीज़ मैं मेरे पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस से भी बोल सकता हूँ, क्योंकि रिसेंटली हम लोग का आई थिंक अभी मैं 7th सेम में आया हूँ, एंड इन द 6th सेम आवर कॉलेज फैकल्टी हैड इनवाइटेड हिम टू गिव अस अ करियर ऑप्शन इन सॉफ्टवेयर टेस्टिंग। एंड जब आए थे, उनका सेम जैसा भी बोला, इज़ लाइक कि भाई तुम सवाल पूछो तभी मैं जवाब दूंगा, तुम नहीं पूछोगे तो मैं नहीं जवाब दूंगा। आई थिंक वो चीज़ एक बहुत अच्छी चीज़ थी, क्योंकि कहीं ना कहीं बीइंग अ, चलो थर्ड ईयर स्टूडेंट या इंजीनियरिंग स्टूडेंट, किसी किसी को वो डर भी लगता है कि मैं पूछूंगा, बहुत बेसिक सवाल पूछ लिया तो लोग क्या सोचेंगे। वो चीज़ हमारे में भी हुई थी, बट उन्होंने वो उनकी बात पे अड़े रहे, नहीं बोलूंगा तो नहीं बोलूंगा, तुम सवाल पूछो। इसीलिए मैंने आज भी ना सवाल लिख के रखे, बोला मैं सवाल पूछूंगा आप जवाब दोगे। सो ये एक बहुत अच्छी चीज़ है जो एवरी वन शुड नो। आदित्य भैया का मैं लिंक्डइन प्रोफाइल डिस्क्रिप्शन में डाल दूंगा। एंड ऑल्सो ये पॉडकास्ट में आई थिंक बहुत सारे जन को, जिनको पता नहीं है सॉफ्टवेयर टेस्टिंग क्या होता है, उनको एक रोड मैप मिल गया होगा कि या दिस इज़ द रोड मैप फॉर सॉफ्टवेयर टेस्टिंग। थोड़ा इंडस्ट्री में क्या चल रहा है, कैसे टाइप के टेस्टिंग होते हैं, क्या रोड मैप होना चाहिए, एंड कैसे टाइप का माइंडसेट होना चाहिए। मेरे और हरी के दोनों के सवाल थे, एंड मेरे बहुत सारे जूनियर्स एंड जो कलीग्स हैं, दे ऑल्सो वांटेड दिस वीडियो, सो दिस वीडियो इज़ फॉर यू। फिलहाल वीडियो में इतना ही। अगर आपको वीडियो अच्छा लगा तो लाइक करना, शेयर करना और चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करना मत भूलना। मिलते हैं अगले वीडियो में। अंटिल देन, बाय बाय।